Let's rock and roll.
All right, take it away.
So the first question, is this really me? Or is this actually an AI robot of me? Because the day will come where you may not be able to tell the difference, which is a scary time. All right, so welcome everybody. So my name is John Newman. I do a lot of different things. I've been in real estate for 20, almost 20 years. I have a big team. I own a market center. I'm area director for the Keller Williams region. But basically, I'm all things real estate. And I do between 40 and 50 houses a year on top of everything else that I do. Have three kids, and I'm currently spending I don't know, I'm probably about 2 hours a day on different types of large learning models. So whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, or just researching different AI trends and how they can be applied to real estate. So as we get started, I just want a show of hands just to make sure I understand, like, if you are using ChatGPT, Gemini, or something like that currently, just put a thumbs up in the chat. I just want to make sure I know what the audience where we live so far. I should have actually asked if you're not using one of these things, put a thumbs up in the chat because everybody's using it. All right, so the next question is, how are you currently using it now? So just drop it in the chat. Like, what are you using it for? Other than, don't put in there my listing descriptions. So you can't say, I'm using it to come up with listing descriptions. How else are you using it now?
I used it to price out football game tickets yesterday.
Post on social media, research, content, images, daily tasks. All right, this is good. Write scripts, um, campaigns, images. All right, this is very helpful. I'm gonna at the end of today, I'll give you like a couple things because I want this to be tactical of things that I'm using it for other than listing descriptions in my real estate business. Would that be helpful for you all versus me just talking theory on what AI is? All right, perfect. Now, one thing for those that aren't using it a lot, just don't be afraid. Just dive into it. The more you use it, the better, you're more comfortable you'll become, the better you'll become at using it. So just start diving into it. When you think about AI, like all of us are using AI in some way, shape, or form currently. I mean, our navigation system, you're ordering things, Canva, like AI is just everywhere. So I want to just be clear that AI is not ChatGPT. AI is basically everywhere. It's like air. Like there's not a facet of our lives that somehow AI is not touching. And the beauty of AI is it's happening at hyper speed. I think Alana said, like, nobody can claim to be an expert in AI because in 30 minutes, something new has changed. Just in the last probably 2 weeks, I've gone from being a ChatGPT user and now I'm moving over to Gemini because I'm finding that their ability to render photos is much faster in Gemini than it is in ChatGPT. So I'm now moving more towards Gemini, but that's neither here nor there. Here's some questions that I'm getting from agents and I want to dispel some myths. I've probably had 12, 13 conversations with agents from across the country or inside the Maryland, D.C. area. And the question or the statement goes something like this. I saw on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube an AI bot that will talk to my clients and help convert leads for me. Has anybody out there heard that or seen something like that or been approached by something like that? Jeremy says yes. And if you haven't seen it or been approached by it yet, you will, because the easiest people to sell are real estate agents. Like it's so easy to sell real estate agents ideas to give them the illusion that they will make more money or their lives will become easier because they don't have to, quote unquote, lead generate, i.e., like Zillow. And when I hear things like that, it scares me to death because when I think of AI, I think people are looking for ways to make AI to do their job for them. And if you're going to go down the path of having AI start talking to your clients, you're probably one step away from being replaced in this industry. Because if AI is going to talk to your clients, well, guess what? AI can also run algorithms to tell someone what a house is worth. And then in the next 3 to 5 years, I'll have an AI robot that can open a door. So be very, very careful of how you're using. Yeah, Jerry just said door openers. Um, be very, very careful. And what I believe is happening in our industry right now, and I love it, and I've seen it happen in real estate for probably the last 10 years. And yes, Cassie, there is an AI that can make cold calls for you. I demoed one last week. Remember, we are in a relationship business. I don't care whether it's real estate or I'm a plumber or a contractor. People will do business with people that they know, they like, and they trust. In the absence of a relationship, it is very hard to build trust. So, how do you build relationship? That's going to happen through conversations or having coffee or going out. Anybody want to date an AI robot? Does that sound appealing to anybody? Well, your clients don't want to date an AI agent. So, when you think about AI should be leverage to do the tasks that don't require human interaction so that we can spend more time being humans and building relationships with people. And when I think about, and I'm going to give a little bit of a political rant, and I apologize because I really don't like politics, but I was having a conversation with my kids. And when I thought about 20 years ago, before we had technology and before we had emails and we had text messages and we had social medias, if I got into a disagreement with somebody, what did I have to do? Anybody can talk.
Say it to their face.
Yeah, I had to get together with them and work it out. If I got into an argument with a kid on the playground, guess what? We would talk it out in the playground and we'd work out our differences. Well, today what I think is happening is we're hiding behind technology to avoid actually having to have a conversation with somebody. And that is the worst thing that we can do as business people. We need to spend more time having more conversations with people. Anybody in here had a birthday recently? Raise your hand. Alana, Alana,
Yeah.
how many phone calls did you get on your birthday from people that wished you happy birthday?
Phone
Actual phone
calls?
conversations. Yes.
Very few, which is sad.
How many Facebook posts did you get saying, "Alana, you're so amazing, happy
Oh
birthday"?
my God, like 300 some.
Okay. And how much did those Facebook posts mean to you? Just be honest.
I liked when they sent me private DMs
Okay.
and they actually personally text me.
Now
I
how about
didn't scroll down to actually look at the 300 some, so I have no idea who wished me happy birthday or not.
the people that actually called you and had a conversation?
Oh, warmed my heart.
And, and then did anybody actually take you out for your birthday and you actually got face to face with them?
A whole group of people.
Okay. Who's the most valuable person?
The people that bought me the margaritas.
All right. Thank you. So we've gotten to a point in this world where my own dad didn't call me on my birthday. He didn't send me a birthday card. He didn't take me out to dinner. He gave me the obligatory Facebook post that said, "Happy birthday, son." So my dad just made himself as relevant as the other three or 400 people that honestly, no offense to anybody here, but you are forgettable. That obligatory Facebook post, you are a forgettable person. You just fell into the gap with everybody else that's out there. And for me, it's actually gotten to the point where I look at it and I actually think negatively of it. It's like, really? You're gonna wish me happy birthday on Facebook because it popped up on your feed that today's my birthday, but you actually have no relationship with me. And guess what? Your clients are feeling the same way. So if you want to be rare in this business, just spend more time building human relationships with people and taking the time to get to know people. Does that make sense to everybody? And then I'll go into the AI stuff. So
Yeah.
now here's where the difference is happening in our industry right now. And I'm going to show my age for a second. And here's how AI can, and every one of you need to be aware of this because it's happening right now. Before the internet, and yes, I was in real estate when we still advertised houses like in newspapers or we had signs. And then this internet thing comes out and I had to have a website and then the big keyword then was search engine optimization, SEO. So people would go on to Google or Yahoo or whatever search portal they were using at the time, and they would search for keywords like who's the best real estate agent in Anne Arundel County, or who's the best real estate agent in Pawnee Orchard. Or even me back then, I did a lot of short sales in 2007 to 2010, so I wrote a lot of blog pieces on short sales. And what happened is my website or my blog post ranked high on Google, so people could find me. At one point in time, if you were to search for short sale expert in Maryland, I was like the top 1 or 3 people in Google. And then what Google figured out is, you know what? We can start placing ads here. So whereas at one point in time, I was ranking very highly on Google, now people that were spending money to place sponsored ads in Google knocked me down, knocked me down, knocked me down. And then you had the lead aggregators, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, all these other companies that had big budgets, a lot of money to spend on keyword optimization and SEO. They had much bigger budgets than I did. So then they started taking the rankings. I would find it hard to believe that any single agent right now, their website can rank in the top 3 sites on any search portal right now. Because you just don't have the time, the knowledge, or the expertise to be an SEO expert. Well, guess what? How many of you all have searched in the last 48 hours instead of going to Google to search for something, you use ChatGPT or Gemini? A couple of you have. Well, guess what? Your consumers are doing the same thing. So instead of the consumers going to, I'm looking for an agent that services waterfront property in Anne Arundel County, or who's the best waterfront property agent in Anne Arundel County, they're now going to ChatGPT for that. So we're moving away from SEO, which is search engine optimization, to GEO, which is generative engine optimization. And you can Google that or put that in a ChatGPT and it'll explain it to you much better than I can explain it to you. But they're going to use these large learning models as the new search portal. So you have to have the ability to rank higher in these large learning models now. And how do you do that? And I want you all to write this down. It's the 4 C's. Or maybe Alana, you can put it in the chat to help them out. 4 C's. I want you to create content. So content is the first C. Consistently, that's the second C. So that you can establish credibility. So credibility is the third C. And if you do those 3 things well, you will create community, which is the fourth C. Because here's what's going to happen. And I taught a class yesterday on this. The more content that you create, that establishes that you have credibility. Now, I'm not talking content that I'm doing the hokey pokey and doing a rap song on real estate. That's funny. That's great. But that's not going to establish credibility on ChatGPT that you are a subject matter expert. So I want you to create content that shows that you are a subject matter expert in something along the lines of real estate. I want you to do that consistently. And then what the ChatGPTs will then start to identify is that you are credible And by the way, video, so if you're creating video content, it's going to rank you higher because if you're creating actual video content, it's going to deem you to be more credible than someone that is just creating some other type of content that's out there. And then when you do that, you'll create community, and that's how you'll generate business. Now, if you're not doing that, then the day may come that you will not show up when someone is searching on ChatGPT or Gemini for a real estate agent. And you can do that for a niche, you can do that for a community, you can do that for I work with first-time home buyers, you can do this for I work with veterans, you can do this for I'm a waterfront expert, whatever you want to do. If I wanted to dominate a neighborhood, so let's think of farming in the year 2025. In the old days, which weren't that long ago, I might send out postcards and do things like that. In today's world, what I would be doing is I would be creating massive amounts of content around that community. And then I would have keywords that I'm an expert in servicing sellers in the Shipley's Choice community in Severna Park. And the more content that I'm creating out there, then the GPTs will establish me as having authority to be a subject matter expert in that area. All right, I just gave you a lot right there. Let's just pause for a second, and I want to answer any questions about those 4 C's. And then what I can tell you is how do you use AI to make that job so much easier. So you just raise your hand. I think Victoria's kind of raising her hand. She might be a little shy.
I'm trying to unmute. Okay. Hi, John. Thank you for this. My question is that uh does ChatGPT, like, people know, like, it does give you a lot of bad results sometimes and wrong information. So are you saying now that it's scrubbing all social media and deciding that I'm an expert in something, even if I'm just saying I'm an expert and I'm like saying some kind of BS? And
Great
like,
question.
how do we know? How do we know what to trust?
Great. That's it's so funny you asked that question, Victoria, because my kids, I have 3 kids, 21, 20, and 13. And we were actually having a conversation around what's reality anymore? What is trust? How do I know what to believe? And the truth of the matter, Victoria, as much as I may not agree with it, but the person that is creating the most content out there is winning right now in the marketplace. I'm seeing agents that are 3 years in the business outperform agents that are 20 years in the business because they're creating more content. Now, like I said, I may not like it. Now, with that being said, I do believe that we're moving to a world because of the chat GPTs can scrub so much stuff so quickly. If you say that you are the expert in Shipley's Choice, but you've never sold a house in Shipley's Choice, it's going to figure out that you've never sold a house in Shipley's Choice because it will pull from all other types of resources, just like I can pull from homes.com or I can pull, so can ChatGPT or Gemini. So it can pull up your actual statistics of what you've actually sold. So you have to do both. If you don't have business in Shipley's Choice and you wanted to dominate some community, then I would start by creating content. And then ideally, I'm now generating sales and results in that community. Does that answer your question, Victoria? Right now, it could be fake it until you make it.
Yeah, it's true. What you're saying is, I think it is true. And chat can't get inside password protected sites. Like I've said, chat, find me the best flight, to go from here to here, or tell me where United goes overseas, and it can't get in to know those things. So there's something that it can't know, but I think you're right. But I think um it's a big cloud of information that's just scraping things right and wrong and then dumping out answers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, Jimmy, thank you for that. Chat may not be able to do certain things yet, because we're moving from generative AI, which means that that it can generate information or it can generate content for you, and we're moving towards agentic AI, which means it will work for you. So there are ways now where I can use different AI tools to log into websites and scrape data. It can actually take over my browser, which that's a whole nother scary thing, and I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole right now. But that is the world that we're coming into. You just need to be aware that, and don't do it yourself. Like, don't go in if you're using ChatGPT and you're constantly talking about real estate, or if I were constantly talking to ChatGPT, like, can you write content for me around Shipley's Choice? Can you do this? My own AI, I'll just call it my AI avatar, will come to love me. But your AI avatar, if I ask it or I prompt it with the same question, will give me a different result. So you want to use somebody else as a reference point. Like, I would always start by saying, hey, by the way, whatever you want to do, tell me about myself. What do you know? Like Victoria. I would go into my chat GPT and say, tell me everything that you know about Victoria Bruce. And then it'll give me whatever it gives me.
I have.
And sometimes
I
that's scary
suggest everybody
information.
do it because it's pretty funny. The
Yeah.
first time it was completely wrong. I was Australian. I was writing romance novels. It was awesome.
And here's what I learned, and it was probably about 5 months ago. I asked it to go and tell me about myself. So I put in John Newman Realtor or John Newman Real Estate Agent because there's a I guess he's a pretty popular singer and his name is John Newman. So it thought that I was like this great singer, and I'm not that great at singing. I'm okay, but I'm definitely not a star. And what it pulled from when I put in John Newman Real Estate Agent is it pulled my LinkedIn bio. Well, guess what? My LinkedIn bio also had, because I hadn't used LinkedIn in a long time. My LinkedIn bio also stated that I was a financial advisor at Merrill Lynch. So it was very confusing because I was like, oh, I need to go out there and update that. So here's what I'm finding right now when I search for real estate agents, it's pulling their LinkedIn information. So what does your LinkedIn bio say about you? Does it just say John Newman, dad, philanthropist, or does it say John Newman, 20-year veteran in real estate that specializes in these three different things? So, what is your TikTok? If you use TikTok, what does your TikTok bio say about you? What does your Instagram bio say about you? Does your Instagram bio just have like two emojis and say mother of three and lover of life? Or does your Instagram bio say that what you actually do and how you service or help buyers or sellers? What does your realtor.com bio say about you? Like all of these places that you're out there publicly, some places that you may not remember, you have to go back out and reevaluate the key words that are in these bios. Good question, Victoria. Let me get to that one in a second. So, any other questions about the 4 C's? So, create content consistently that shows credibility so that you ultimately build community. Now, there's many of you that are out there that might be my age. Some of you might be a little bit older, a little bit younger. I don't like creating content. I didn't want to be on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or any of these different things. I wanted to be the Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the curtain that just made things happen. And guess what? I've now adapted and realized, as a matter of fact, I'm going to give you all a test right now, or just to show you that I practice what I preach. I'm dropping. That's where I am on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So if you follow me, I'll follow you back. And guess what? I may give you some suggestions if I see what you're doing, because it's the first place that I'm now going when I meet with an agent, or I'm interviewing an agent, or I'm thinking about making a hire. The very first place I'm going now is I'm going to their Instagram, their Facebook, their YouTube, their TikToks. It's the very first place I check. It's actually more important to me than your resume. And the interesting thing is my youngest child is getting ready to interview for high schools. And I was in the orientation with, the guidance counselors, and they said that high schools are now scrolling and scanning kids' social media profiles. I was like, wow, that's fascinating. So make sure that the information that is out there is accurate and tells the story that consumers want to hear about you being credible in the real estate industry. And you can keep the mom of three, the dad of three, the nature lover, the dog lover, keep that stuff. But I also want to see something that tells me why I should work with you. Now, let's get into tactics. Here's how I'm using AI. I don't like creating content. I'm not very funny. I have ADHD, so I stumble across words and I tell long stories, and trust me, when you're creating content, I had people reach out to me and tell me that I had boomer pauses. I didn't even know that that was a thing. I didn't know what a boomer pause was. But basically, for those that don't know, a boomer pause is where you're kind of collecting your thoughts. So you're telling a story and you're kind of rambling, and you might have an or an or a something in there. And when you're thinking about content, it has to be short and sweet, or else people will go to the next scroll. So my original videos that I was creating were very, very long-winded, and guess what? People got bored of me. So I started to use AI, and here's what I do now. So I went into ChatGPT, and you all can write this down. And I said to ChatGPT, I want you to scan TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and look for any viral sounds or reels or information in the real estate niche. And I want you to update me every single morning on what you found. So now every single morning it's now in my Gemini, I get a list of things that it has found that people have wanted to watch the day before on those platforms. So right now, what happened yesterday? What do you think would be a relevant topic in the real estate niche? What happened yesterday, you all? Interest rates. So here's what I do next. I then go into ChatGPT or Gemini and I'm like, listen, I need a 45-second teleprompter script on how the Fed's rate decision yesterday will impact buyers or sellers. And it gives me a 45-second script of what to say. Now, yes, I have to check it and make sure that it's relevant, make sure that it's not making up stories, make sure that it's not hallucinating. But it gives me a template for a script without crazy boomer pauses. And then I plug that into another app called BigView, BIGVU. And there's other ones that are out there. And then all I do is I look at my camera and read my screen. And now I have content. So I don't have to really think about it. I just have to wake up in the morning, look at the topics, pick the topic that I like, have ChatGPT or Gemini create my script. I want to keep it no more than 45 seconds. And I copy and paste that into my teleprompter, and I turn on my iPhone and record. And it's enabled me to create content much more consistently because I don't have to think about it. And then once I have the video, I will say, go back into ChatGPT or Gemini and say, okay, great. Now create the caption for my Instagram reel. And it'll create the caption for me with the relevant hashtags, and I don't have to think about it. Can everybody do that? And trust me, I don't like the way that I look on camera either. You're not alone in that one. That's probably everybody. But I heard somebody say at a workshop a couple of months ago, guess what? The way that you look is the way that you look. and we all look great. And trust me, we all want to be authentic anyway. All right. How many of you all do a newsletter? So would that alleviate your anxiety on creating content? Can everybody do that? Is that scary? Does anybody have any reservations about how I would do that? Utilize AI. You don't have to think about it anymore. All right, here's the next thing that I'm doing that's quite fascinating. And if you all go to my Instagram profile, you'll see that I do a weekly newsletter. Well, guess what? John doesn't even do a weekly newsletter. John prompts AI to create a weekly newsletter. I wanted to do a weekly newsletter for a couple years now, and I always got, what am I going to say? Am I going to ramble? I'm not the best writer that's out there. You know, my degree's in finance, and how do I do it consistently? So I started, stopped it, didn't do it right, didn't like the way it sounded, and therefore it never got done. It never got done consistently. So now what I do is I actually create my weekly newsletter using AI. So I will come up with a list of relevant topics, or I will ask ChatGPT or Gemini, give me a list of relevant newsletter topics. My target audience, so for me, my target audience is real estate agents, not buyers or sellers. My target audience is so-and-so. Please compose a 700-word newsletter on this topic. And then it'll give me the blueprint for it. I will tweak it. I will add to it. And then I copy and paste that information into my newsletter, and my newsletter is done. And the funny thing is that I think I'm now 14, 15 weeks in consistently. It goes out every single Monday at 12 o'clock. And I have about 300 subscribers to it because I don't spam it to anybody. It's only by subscription. It's a free subscription, but it only goes out to people that subscribe to it. And I have about a 70% open rate on that newsletter. And it's almost completely automated. It takes me about 20 minutes a week. I do it every single Sunday morning. It takes me about 20 minutes. So I use my Sundays as my Sunday mornings as my content creation. I'll compose my newsletter. I'll create 3 or 4 different pieces of video. And then that now becomes the way that I can create content consistently to establish credibility so that I can build a community. And if you just do those couple things, it's a great starting point. And then you can go down other rabbit holes. How do I build websites with AI? How do I do this? But right now, I don't think you need to get too overwhelmed. Just do a couple things consistently. Now, if you wanted to do a weekly newsletter on a weekly market update, you can go into Bright, go into there. I think it's over in the headers across the top will have research, and then you can download a graph and a chart of how the market is doing. You can do it. You can do it for the DMV. You can do it for a zip code. Any of those things. You can literally download that PDF, upload that into ChatGPT, and say, could you create a weekly newsletter on the Maryland real estate market? And you will be amazed at how accurate and relevant and how good of a job that ChatGPT does to do your weekly newsletter for a weekly market update. And then guess what? You could take that information and then say, hey, ChatGPT, give me a 45-second teleprompter script for a market update for the housing market in Anne Arundel County. And now you have your teleprompter script. And now you just create your video, and now you have a consistent weekly market update, which will make ChatGPT or some of these LLMs to deem you as being authoritative and relevant in that marketplace because you're creating content consistently showing that you're a subject matter expert. All right, Alana, your hand is raised.
Yeah, I just wanted, there's a few questions in the chat box, based on what you were sharing. One is, just how do you, I did post a few examples in the chat, but for you personally, how do you change things up, so you don't get bored with the content and don't tune you out? I'll say it that way.
I think that's a good question. So for me, I listen to multiple podcasts. I scroll just like you all, probably through Instagram or TikTok. I'm always looking for stuff. And if I see something that catches my eye, then I'm like, okay, cool, that's a great newsletter idea. So I basically just hack other people's information or information I found. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea for a newsletter topic. And then what I have in ChatGPT is I have a running list. So I created a folder. I have the pro version or the premium version, whatever one it is, of ChatGPT and Gemini now. And I just create folders. So I have a folder in ChatGPT because I'm haven't migrated that one in Gemini yet. And I have a folder for John's newsletter. And every time I have an idea, I'm just, hey, here's an idea for a newsletter. Here's an idea for a newsletter. And it just creates a running log of all of my newsletter ideas. And here's the beauty of it. Probably 6 months from now, I can probably take the newsletter that I did 6 months from now, will be what, like March? I could probably take the one that I did in September and just run it back and just change the headline. Which, by the way, a lot of content creators are doing the same exact thing when they're creating content anyway.
So John, for your newsletter, what platform do you use for that?
So I'm using one called Beehive. I don't know how I chose Beehive, to be honest with you. There's plenty of them that are out there. Um, Beehive did have a cost to it, but I'd love to tell you that I had done all kinds of research and figured it out. I didn't. Somebody else whose newsletter I subscribed to was using Beehive, and I just chose Beehive. But there's a bunch of different ones that are out there. Now, the other thing that you can do is, as it pertains to creating this content, a lot of the trouble that I had with content creation was having a system around it so that I could be consistent. You could go into ChatGPT, Gemini, and say, listen, here's who I am. And remember that the prompt is really important. Here's who I am. Here's my audience. So I want to target first-time home buyers, or I want to target um, baby boomers that own real estate or own rental properties, or I want to target something. The more niched down that is, the better it'll be. And then once I have my niche, here's who I am. I'm a real estate agent. My target audience is first-time home buyers in Anne Arundel County. I want to create or create me a content calendar that would appeal to people in this niche. And it'll program out 20 days of your content for you. And then you just have to fine tune it and tweak it a little bit to your own liking. All right, what other questions do we have, Alana?
So I'd love to hear your answer on this. I was typing up an answer, but I'm like, okay, this is way too long, so my answer is way too long. Have you seen agents use any AI platform yet to do CMAs?
I have. Um, and I think from a research standpoint, it will actually do a pretty good job. However, if you're talking about the creation of, I saw a demo of someone that literally created the CMA, the listing presentation, but it was kind of ugly. But the data, remember, the better the data that you put in, I would not use it and just say, hey, by the way, I'm selling a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house in Shipley's Choice. Can you create a CMA for me? I would want to put in relevant data. Like I would want to plug in, here's the last 3 houses that have sold, here's the 3 houses that are active on the market. Like, I want to prompt it with as much data as possible. I would not rely on it solely just to, no. Hey, by the way, run a CMA for me for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house in Chipley Choice. I don't think you're giving enough information. But I've also demoed, so this is what's coming. And interesting. I've demoed just in the last month. I've demoed an AI piece of software, I guess, for lack of a better word, that will write my offers for me. I didn't have to, it literally plugs in. I fill out like 20 questions and it wrote my entire offer for me on the actual contract. And it asked me questions like, would you like to do this? Would you like to have an escalation clause? Would you like to waive contingencies? Like, it was pretty weird, but pretty cool at the same time. It took about 2 minutes and 47 seconds, and I had a whole entire offer written for me. AI transaction management. Anybody in here use a transaction manager for contract to close? I've demoed software in the last 3 weeks that will be a virtual transaction manager. So that's what's coming down the pipe. I've demoed software that I can upload my database and the AI bot will call my clients. I've demoed software that I can upload a list of leads and the AI software will call my leads for me. And some of them were kind of weird. It sounded like a robot, but they're getting better. And that's why I read an article last week that said the ISA industry, which is, inside sales agents, people that call back leads, that industry is going to die because you'll have AI bots that will now be doing that, and they can do it 10 times faster than we can do it. So all of this is coming, which goes back to my original statement. Now is our time to build deeper relationships.
So John, with talking about relationships and people, one of the questions in the chat, I don't want to use it for clients, but to find prospects. Can you give some insight into that?
So once again, you can plug any of this in there. I demoed a piece of software last week, another piece of software that I could go into it and say, listen, I'm a painting company and I'm looking for people that may need my home improvement services. And what it would do is it would go into LinkedIn and just start literally DMing people that may have put certain keywords into LinkedIn. I assume it could do it for other things. This one worked on LinkedIn, and it started mass DMing people. So yes, it's out there, but here's what I would say. Here's what I say to agent. I don't care what class I'm teaching. Stop thinking about how can I generate more leads and start thinking about how can I have deeper relationships with the people that are already in my database. Because I could give every one of you all in this thing a list of 1,000 people that are likely to sell in the next 2 years. But what are you going to do with that? And if you don't have a system to stay in relationship and build relationships with those people, I'd be handing you leads that you wouldn't know what to do with anyway. Leads are never the issue in real estate. The issue is always how do I stay connected and relevant and build community with the people that I have? And until you do that well, all you're doing is adding more work for yourself. Because most of us have 200 to 300 people that already know us, like us, or trust us. So if we focus on those people and building more authentic and deeper relationships and use AI to stay top of mind and relevant with them, most of us will have plenty of business. But when I talk to most agents, I'm like, okay, show me your database and then show me your system for staying in relationship with those people in your database. Most people fail on that method and they say, but I need more leads. Well, what would you do with the leads if you had them? You should be putting them into your database and then having a systematic way to stay in conversation and communication with them. So leads aren't the issue for most agents, unless you're brand new and you just moved here from a different state and you know nobody. All right, we have about 10 minutes left, so let's open up to any questions. Just raise your hand or drop it in the chat. And once again, we do these every single month, so this will constantly be evolving. And it won't be me every single month. But every single month, what is the second Thursday of
Third
Thursday?
Thursday every month, 11 a.m. I'll throw the chat. I'll throw the Zoom link in there. And each one will have a guest, and each one will be a different topic because AI is always changing. So there'll be specific ones on Canva, on videos, on anything and everything.
All right, what questions do we have? Let's open it up.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
So when you talk about videos, could a video be just kind of slides with and talking over those, or even an AI voice talking over those, so you can eliminate those? I have senior moments. I'm probably about your age or older, but just to make it more sleek, or does it have to be like, in your estimation, does it have to be a person or just video content, just because it's moving and it's saying something?
So Sally, 100%. I mean, there are pages that are out there that have no face, I mean, faceless content creators. There's plenty of them that are out there, and they work, and you can just do a voiceover. It doesn't have to be like my face or your face. It could just be a voiceover, and it can be just as effective. It just has to be relevant content that ideally is educational. Now, when I was teaching a class yesterday, there were a lot of agents that were saying, you know, well, I do these kind of funny videos and I get plenty of business, which I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying if you want to be deemed as being relevant on the large learning models, i.e., ChatGPT, you need to create authoritative content. If I get out and dance the hokey pokey every day, and yes, I could have a big following because I hear it's this crazy dude that's doing a hokey pokey every day. And yes, some people will communicate with me and probably say, hey, what do you do when you're not doing the hokey pokey? Well, I sell houses. Well, can you help me? Sure, that will work. But ChatGPT may deem me as being authoritative in doing the hokey pokey, not selling houses or not servicing buyers or sellers. So I'm not saying if you're already creating content and you're building a community around, I mean, I could generate a lot of real estate business. I like to cook when I'm not selling houses or I'm not teaching classes. I could create a big following and a big community just around cooking that could turn into real estate business. However, ChatGPT is going to deem me more relevant as being a cook than being a real estate agent. So look at it from two different perspectives. If I want to show up in ChatGPT, I need relevant content. If I just want to show up and create community and make my friends laugh, I can create any kind of content.
So does Chat GPT, will they, in order to, connect you with that content, or you with being the expert, is it your image, do you think? Or is it just your name appearing, or you saying your name, or whatever it is? Like, because eventually I'm guessing it's going to go through a bunch of photos and pull you for this. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's a great question. And I don't have a factual answer on that, Sally. My hypothesis would be it's not about as much about my face, it's more about what I'm saying or the information that I'm providing.
But
And
connected to your name, or
connected to my name,
so
yes.
you'd have to either type that, or like in these slides, or say your name often or something like that, I'm guessing. Okay.
Yes, correct,
All
correct.
right.
Somebody asked in here, what tools are there for AI bots used to call clients? I mean, there's a lot of them out there. So somebody that I follow on TikTok, and I'm gonna drop her name in here. And there's a lot of people. I just found her, and she creates a lot of content on the latest AI tool and the latest AI this and how people are using AI and AI bots. And that's her name. She has plenty of demos of how she's using AI bots to contact her clients. once again, I'm not a huge fan of that. That's just me because if my dad plugged in my name and said he wanted this AI bot to call me on my birthday, I'm not going to feel special. And I want my clients to feel special. And I think as more and more agents move more towards technology and away from human connection, I want to go in the opposite direction. I want to be the most human person that's out there because I believe that that will be a rare and valuable skill set in the coming years. I want to go back to handwritten cards. I want to go back to birthday cards. I want to go back to, you want to do something really, really weird? Go out and buy $35 Starbucks gift cards and go through your database and invite people out to a cup of coffee. The feedback that you will get will be bizarre. People will think that there's something wrong with you, that you have some big announcement. I did this one time, and it was my one of the people that I took out for coffee was my old assistant when I was at Merrill Lynch. And literally, we went out and had coffee, and she thought that I was going to tell her that I was dying. Because I haven't heard from you. Like, it was so foreign to her that I would just want to go out and have a cup of coffee and catch up. Like, it was almost like a weird thing. But guess what? That's memorable and it's rare, and that will lead to more business, more referrals, and all of the above. So I want to go when everyone's going in one direction, I usually want to go in the opposite direction. I hope that all of you use AI bots to call your clients. Please do that for me. I really don't hope that because that would make me more valuable in the marketplace because I would be the one agent that's like, oh no, I actually want to talk to people. I want to build real relationships with people. And the other thing that I'd be worried about, and if anybody wants to know a specific piece of software around AI bots that can call people, send me a DM. I'm not going to put it on here because I don't want to promote it, but send me a DM. But here's what I'd also be concerned about if I were doing that. There's so many lawsuits about people that are being called on the do not call list. And keep in mind, almost everybody's on the do not call list. And your AI robot will not get you out of the do not call jail. And now I'm not saying that it's not being done. I get all the text messages and the phone calls from the people selling me health insurance. I get them as well. But I know of many, many, many people that have been all this by using auto dialers or using these things. So when I demoed this software, and the guy said, listen, we can give this to your brokerage and all of your agents can upload people and we can have our AI robot call all of these people. I said, there's no way in the world I'm going to present that to my brokerage because I'm going to get my butt into all kinds of lawsuits. All right, we got time for one more question.
Do you have like a favorites, like a couple favorites? I heard you say Gemini a lot.
That's a great question, Jerry. Like I was like a huge ChatGPT user. It was the only thing I was using. But when Gemini rolled out their banana, whatever it's called, something banana, um, photo rendering tool,
Yeah.
the speed at which it could render a photo and the realism of that photo was so much better than what I was finding on ChatGPT. Oh, by the way,
Oh
I'll give you
yeah.
another cool tool. If anybody out there is using a virtual staging company, just stop.
So I'm sorry, John, when you saying rendering, what are you rendering? Staging?
So, yeah, like staging. So, I started playing with like some virtual staging about 3 months ago, and I think I was paying like $27 per photo. Like, so for $100, they would do like 4 different photos. I'm now doing that with Gemini for free, and it does a good job. Now, your prompt has to be, and by the way, I mean, disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of virtual staging. I think it's kind of like just me. This is just my personal opinion. I think it's like catfishing, like you're putting something out there, but and then somebody walks in the house, like, oh, this isn't the house. But that's just me. So you make your own decision there. But if you use Gemini or ChatGPT for any type of virtual staging, your prompt is going to be the important part. So instead of saying, you can't just say, I would like you to virtually stage this room. You might say something like, this is a modern 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I would like you to add accents and pieces from Pottery Barn in this style. So the more specific you are, the better that your photos will turn out. But yes, Victoria, that's one way that I'm using it. I use it for my newsletters. Hey, by the way, instead of using Snap Photo or any type of other images that are out there that I would have to pay for, I'm just using ChatGPT to create a realistic image around this. I played with something yesterday and I had family photos and I wanted to remove some people from the family photo. That's a longer story. And it did an amazing job of removing people from the photo. It just made them disappear. And the photo looked great. Taking old photos, I've tested this. I have old photos from like once again, I'm older. I had Polaroids from like, those, was it Polaroids? What was the thing where the photo would come out? Like you hit the button and it creates the photo. I
Polaroid,
would upload
right?
those photos and say, could you recreate this photo? And it did an amazing job of taking old photos and then bringing them back to life. Now, once again, I found Gemini to be much more useful in this than ChatGPT. Videos. And I'm playing around with, I don't know if it's pronounced Veo or Vio, which is also in the Gemini platform to create videos. I'm no expert in that, but some of the videos that are being created inside of the Gemini platform are absolutely phenomenal. So the days of creating, I don't need to hire people to create videos anymore or to do things anymore. I can now use AI to replace other people that I was using. Here's another thing that I'm doing it right now, by the way. And this was fascinating. Go through your last 12 months and create a spreadsheet of all of your transactions and put as much data as you can in a spreadsheet. This person was referred to me. This was a first-time home buyer. This was a move-up home buyer. And then based upon the information that you upload, create a business plan for the next 12 months to double my business. And just test it. It's fascinating the information that it will spit out and it will prompt you. And we're coming into business planning season right now. Every one of you should be trying out ChatGPT or Gemini to create your business plan just to see what it says for 2026. I would like a step-by-step business plan to double my business in 2026. What questions would you need to know from me? And then it will prompt you. And then you answer the question. Next thing you know, you're going to have a business plan that's built out for 2026. Then you can say, now I would like a weekly action plan to make sure that I stay on target to achieve my goals. And then you can ask it, and I would like you to email me, or I would like you to update me or prompt me every day to make sure that I'm taking action. My budget is now, my personal household budget is now being done by ChatGPT.
Hey, I wanted to throw out something because the question that just well, a statement that was just mentioned in the chat. I don't like that ChatGPT is always so nice versus honest, like everything is a great idea. So you can actually train ChatGPT to not be nice. One of the things I learned in the past whatever month is you can tell chat or AI, whatever AI platform, don't be so nice to me. don't be so, this is a great idea, So you can actually just speak your mind. Something, you can actually tell it things you would sometimes want to tell a real person, but you'd feel bad telling it. You can just tell chat exactly how you want to tell it, right? And then you can say to chat, if you ask it a question or you want something at the very end of it, you can say to it, ask me clarifying questions to give me more detail. So you can physically say, so you would say to chat, ask me clarifying questions to give me more detail. And it will then have a thought process and ask you even deeper questions to make it a better answer.
Yeah.
So you
Thank
can
you.
teach it to not be nice to you.
Yeah, and Alana, that's important because if you were to ask ChatGPT, I have an idea to do this, this, and this. What are your thoughts on that? 9 times out of 10, it's going to come back and say, an amazing idea. You're such a visionary thinker. And if you want to feel good about yourself, like that's great. Like your ChatGPT robot person will be your biggest star. I mean, your biggest fan. But yeah, you want to try and prompt it to like, I want mine to argue with me. Like, I would like you to argue the pros and cons of both sides of this thought process.
All right.
All right,
Can
I
I
Was
ask
this
one more
appreciate
helpful?
you all.
question?
Yeah.
One more quick. I was taking notes, but I missed this one. You were going in and out on my end, which sorry about. But what were you saying that you have ChatGPT? Has you before you put the content up, you said you have an alert or something like what people are talking about the day before. Is that correct? Like, what were you doing?
Yeah. So the prompt is I would like you to scan TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram Reels and look for any viral topics, sounds, or content, and then send me a list of those things every single morning. And you'll literally get a notification on your phone every single morning that their task has been completed.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, it can remind you to do things now. Like, this is
Yeah,
the other way that I'm using it. Like, and some of you are probably doing the same. I have a running task list of like John's household tasks. And I would like you to send me a report every single week to make sure that I stay on target for completing these household tasks. And then
yeah, I did
it'll
that with
send me a notification every week.
amazing.
All right, appreciate you all. And what's
Thank
the
you
next
guys so
date,
much.
Alana?
Well, next Thursday, we're doing a special 11 o'clock 20 lead gen hacks. So if you want some out of box thinking from front lawn parties to margarita machines and just really fun ideas that you've never thought of to gain business, join us next Thursday. I'll throw the link in the chat box. And then the third Thursday every month, 11 o'clock, same time, same place, same Zoom link. Put on your calendars. Let's just grow with AI.
All right, I appreciate you all. Have an amazing day.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.